Today we are going to be looking at the Italian aria Tu lo sai by Giuseppe Torelli. It's listed in the Texas PML for UIL Solo and Ensemble Contest as a Class 1 solo. Today I'm going to be using the 24 Italian songs and arias when I'm looking at it. It's a classic. I think it's in most high school libraries. It's the one I used in college. If you have the newer edition, the 28 Italian songs and arias, the page right before the song has a brief description. There's the IPA, a word-for-word translation, and a poetic translation. So that should help you out as you learn the song. If you look in the description of this video, you're going to find that I have listed some pretty good recordings that you can listen to that I found on YouTube. And one of them is even a native speaker. The first thing we're going to look at, after, of course, you've worked on the words and the songs separately, is the first few words. The title of the song, Tu lo sai. It happens 8 times in this aria. So it's pretty important to get that right. And I've also found with my students, it's the most difficult aspect of the song for some reason. So when you start off, Tu lo sai, you need to make sure that you're singing like a goldfish, everything forward, very, very forward like this, and not like a trout. No. Tu lo sai. The first time it happens in measures 1 and 2, it's also the same in measure 25. And 26. You started on an E, which is the break for some people, so that can be a little difficult. But it's not that big of a deal. And it's a descending scale. You just need to make sure that your sound goes up and over and that you're sending your sound out to your audience. And also make sure to sing on the first vowel of the diphthong, the ah, and not the E, because that would be eek for all of us. The next time it occurs is in measure 5 and 6, where you have an ascending scale. It's also the same in measure 29, if you're looking at your score. It's the same thing. So you start on a C sharp on the medium high, that's what I'm using. Make sure it goes nice and out to your audience. When you flip the page, and you're on the 3rd page of this aria, immediately in measure 33, this kind of thing also happens in measure 41, but you have a skip down, you have a 4th down, and then you have a skip up. You have a little bit of an up. So measure 33 and 34, you want to make sure you have a nice big space and you keep that space the same. You don't want to move a whole lot. And then in measure 41, it's just down a little bit. It's a little lower. The other times that it occurs, you have in measure 37 and 38, which is also a melismatic passage, and we'll talk about that in a minute. In measure 45, the last time that you sing Tu lo sai, you have a 3rd up, and then another 3rd up. Tu lo sai. Make sure it's going out to your audience. Let's look at one of the more difficult rhythmic passages in this song. It seems to be more difficult for my students, but I think it's just because they don't quite understand the steps that you need to take to work on a melismatic passage. The first thing you need to do is you gotta make sure you have the rhythm. So starting in measure 21, you're going to clap 8th notes and count that rhythm. You can count it on a neutral syllable, which I'll probably do for you, or you can count it with actual counts. All right, so measure 21. You have 1 and da, 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 da. Okay, So then the next step when you have that is you want to sing it on a neutral syllable so that you can practice your breath support and your rhythm and your vocal placement for this. Make sure you have a nice open space and you're still sending it out to your audience. So you have 1 and. Next, you're going to speak the words in the rhythm. So you have 1 and e poi sprezza un infedel. And then, once you have that, then you finally get to add the rhythm with the words. The other rhythmic passages that might pose a little difficulty are just some little turns, some little melismatic passages. The first one is in measure 38. Go to the measure previous, 37, and start right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and chant the words there, counting it with eighth notes. So you have tu lo sa. The next one is measure 43 and 44. I'm just going to chant it with the words for you. Quanto tamai. The other question you might have is, where do I breathe? I mean, I see this song and I see there are some rests in it, and I know I can breathe there, but I'm not quite sure where else I can breathe. If you look at this song, you'll notice that the phrases are in 4-measure phrases. So in this song, you would typically breathe after every 4 measures. Another place you can breathe is after a poetic line, a punctuation like a period, an exclamation point, or a comma. But in this song, it really needs to be 4-measure phrases. If you have to breathe, please breathe. Your judge, your audience, they want to hear your best voice. And if you're running out of air because you're nervous, you want to breathe. Everyone is rooting for you. The judges are rooting for you. Everyone wants you to do well. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe and the little bell notification icon so that you won't miss any future videos.